I say to this day, and I do it based on my reaction. Obviously, this is personal. I say it's the greatest knockout of all time. First time I ever stood up, I couldn't sit down. I was standing up. I was just like, oh!
I saw you stand up. That's the first time.
It was just, what?
In the last 6 rounds with AJ, in my opinion, he won 4 of them. People will argue that. He at least won 3.
Will you take care of me forever and ever?
When Anthony Joshua finally delivered a devastating 6th-round knockout to end Jake Paul's run in their much-hyped heavyweight clash, Joe Rogan's live reaction said it all. Having repeatedly warned about Joshua's terrifying one-punch power, Rogan erupted as the shot landed. He instantly framed the finish as more than just a fight-ending blow, calling it a defining moment for combat sports. In Rogan's view, the knockout wasn't only decisive, it was a kind of violent, unforgettable finish that could be remembered among the most brutal moments in boxing history.
Come full steam ahead 100 miles an hour, or Jake would have moved around the ring 100 miles an hour. There's 2 things I would have done. Tried to shut Jake down at 100 miles an hour, or I would have gone on the back foot. So Jake decided to move around the ring.
The bout, officially billed as Judgment Day, was contested in the heavyweight division over scheduled 8 3-minute rounds. Anthony Joshua entered as a clear favorite, backed by elite championship experience and a significant size advantage. Standing 6 feet 6 inches and weighing around 243 pounds, Joshua outweighed Jake Paul, who came in at approximately 216 pounds. After a cautious opening, Joshua steadily asserted control. He dropped Paul multiple times in the 5th round before sealing the fight with a brutal 6th-round knockout at 131, unloading a crushing right hand that flattened Paul and forced an immediate stoppage.
Anthony Joshua. Paul was sturdy for the first couple of rounds, but as the fight went on, the more experienced Joshua began to take control. After continuously connecting in the 5th round, it was only a matter of time before it was over. In the 6th, Joshua went on to knock out Paul with a big right hand. Joshua improved his career record to 29-4 now. Paul loses for the 2nd time in his career to
Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul became one of the year's most discussed fights, driven by their contrasting personalities and star power. More importantly, it highlighted a sharp divide between traditional heavyweight boxing and the modern, social media-fueled influencer era.
Performance by Jake, brother. Fucking legend for that. He has such big balls getting in the ring with that guy, dude. Joshua's a monster. He stayed in it the whole time, and I'm really proud of Jake, dude. All my respect to him, bro. Whatever outcome. I mean, dude, he went 6.5 rounds with Anthony Joshua. He's one of the best in the world, so I got nothing for him.
And got up like 2 times?
No. It was sick.
Talk about that. I mean, there's been other heavyweights that have felt that right hand who haven't got up.
Nagano, so many people, bro, over him, right? Jake's got a tough chin, dude. I think he does whatever he wants after this. He just has such big balls, dude. He had to keep moving. That was the only strategy. People are going to say he ran around the ring. They don't know. They don't understand fucking boxing.
Showed a ton of heart, right? What's next for Jake Paul? Where's he going?
Joshua, a former 2-time unified heavyweight champion, came into the bout as an overwhelming favorite. Jake Paul, a YouTuber-turned boxer, had grown boxing's audience through his massive platform despite criticism from purists. Still, few believe he posed a genuine threat against elite heavyweight power.
Some people believe in fairy tales. Whoever believed that Jake Paul was going to win, that was an absolute fairy tale. I've got a friend in a group message that said, I just put $20 on Jake Paul to win. I was like, bro, you just wasted your money. There was never a world in which Jake Paul was going to beat Anthony Joshua. It was always a matter of how the fight would end. So I watched all the pundits talking about the fight. Even Rosendo, my boxing coach, I was like, does Anthony Joshua represent boxing? Everybody from that world felt like Anthony Joshua was representing boxing. And as the fight started to go on, first off, he was representing boxing, so they wanted him to get the job done. All right, first and foremost. You can't lose to a guy that's perceived to be a YouTuber, even though today, Jake Paul is more boxer than YouTuber. I've said this time and time again. When you have resources, when you can spend $1 million a year on training camps, housing, food, coaches, this is not recreational anymore. He's a boxer. He's just not a boxer at that level. I ran into his brother in New York City. And I said to Logan, what parameters are in place, Logan? What safeguards do they have to make sure that Anthony Joshua doesn't hurt your brother? He said there are none. He goes, they're going to just straight fight. So in that regard, you got to give credit.
Anthony Joshua was candid and thoughtful when assessing his performance, explaining that although he secured a 6th-round knockout, it wasn't his sharpest showing. He admitted he expected to do better, noting he struggled early to land clean shots and couldn't trap Jake Paul as quickly as anticipated. Joshua described the result as a win, but not a full success, stressing that there were clear areas to improve. He emphasized that higher standards remain for himself and that significant work still lies ahead as he continues refining his game.
There is a lot of things, 100%. In the fight game, you've seen the amazing fighters that have graced us over the last 100 years, and the expectations that we put on ourselves are immense, but I tried my best. Jake done well while it lasted, but if you remember what I said in the interview with Cameron, is fighting's not just physical, it's psychological. And when you understand the psychological warfare, I did say to you that, Jake, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna see a time when I'm gonna take your soul and you're either gonna give up or...
Despite scoring the knockout, Joshua was careful to praise Jake Paul's toughness and determination. He said that even though the fight ended in a 6th-round stoppage, Paul showed genuine heart by repeatedly getting back to his feet and continuing to fight against a far more experienced former world champion. Joshua added that not many fighters would accept a challenge at that level, and Paul's willingness to keep pushing through difficult moments earned his respect.
AJ's won 6 rounds, he kind of dismantled him, he took his time. How do you see it?
Yeah, it was a frustrating 2-3 rounds maybe, because Jake was moving so much, holding, but did well, I thought. I mean, I was impressed with him. I mean, I was more impressed with his toughness, because I think that last shot would have knocked out most heavyweights. I mean,
He broke his jaw.
Yeah, I know, he knocked him out, but he was not unconscious. You know, I mean, look, he may not come back from, if he has broken his jaw, it's a big injury to come back from.
Well, there's pictures of him in hospital right now.
Well, listen, you've got to respect him, because he did what many people wouldn't do, which was get in the ring with him. And, you know, he didn't, I know he run and hold, but he also let his hands go at times. And he was in the firing line, and, you know, we got 6 good rounds in the end of actual work.
Is that how you see it in the end?
Yeah, I actually think it's a positive, because, you know, we could have gone in there and got it all over with 45 seconds. He's done an 8-week camp, and now he's done 6 rounds. He's got something to go back on.
Jake Paul suffered a broken jaw during his 6th-round knockout loss to Anthony Joshua. After Joshua landed a crushing right hand to end the fight, Paul appeared bloodied and shaken. In his post-fight interview, he said he believed his jaw was broken, which was later confirmed.
Logan, what's up, man? What's your reaction to it?
I'm just so proud of him. My mom has me.
Your brother fought his ass off, man.
Yeah,
I mean, other heavyweights have taken that right hand and only took one.
I'm just so proud of him. That was incredible. In my view, that was a victory on all fronts.
Wow.
Like, minus the actual victory, of course, but bro, like, no one expected him to last 6 rounds with AJ. In my opinion, he won 4 of them. People will argue that. He at least won 3. No one expected him to last that long. Rolled his ankle, broke his jaw, still fucking fighting, man. Like, that's toughness. You know, most people just wouldn't have the balls ever to step in a boxing ring in their life. He stepped in a boxing ring with one of the baddest men on the planet. Who's 40 pounds heavier than him and 6 inches taller. That's insane. He's one of the most skilled fighters on the planet. My brother, as a fucking YouTuber, went 6 rounds with him in a fight with a broken jaw, rolled ankle. I'm so proud of him. That was just unbelievable.
I saw you talking crap to AJ at one point.
I was trying to get his head. I think I pissed him off. I was just saying I love AJ. But bro,
I saw you.
I was talking so much. But I just pissed him off. Then he broke my brother's jaw.
Jake Paul responded to the loss with his trademark bravado, posting a defiant message alongside an x-ray that revealed a double broken jaw. Sharing the image on social media, Paul wrote, "Double broken jaw. Give me Canelo in 10 days." Medical scans later confirmed fractures in 2 places. Remarkably, Paul drove himself to the hospital following the fight to receive treatment. Doctors estimated a recovery period of 4 to 6 weeks. Despite the setback, Paul continued to post updates and images online, confirming the injury and thanking fans for their messages of support.
Nikita, just down here, Jack from the Sun. Just to follow up on Jake, he said he broke his jaw in the aftermath. Has he gone to hospital? What's the health update on Jake?
Yeah, we think he broke his jaw. He's fine. We met with Netflix afterwards. He took a shower. He drove himself to the hospital. A broken jaw is very common in sports, particularly in boxing or MMA. And I think the recovery time from the doctors and surgeons we've already talked to is...
Nikita Bidarian praised Jake Paul's heart, toughness, and overall approach to the fight, saying Paul performed admirably against one of the most feared punchers in heavyweight boxing. He noted that Paul executed his game plan well and may have even edged a few early rounds, showing composure under pressure. However, Bidarian stressed that the true reason for the loss was not a lack of boxing skill, but the massive size and weight disparity. Joshua's larger frame, superior strength, and physical presence steadily drained Paul's energy, allowing the former champion to land increasingly powerful shots. Bidarian explained that Joshua's physical dominance was key in wearing Paul down over time, leading to the eventual knockout, while emphasizing that Paul's effort and courage still deserved real respect.
That's what happened. And ultimately, Jake Paul lasted a lot longer than anyone said he was going to. And I haven't seen the official scorecards. I don't know if anyone else has, but I think he might have won a round or two or even three. He was doing tremendously well in there against a person who is vastly more skilled, vastly larger, vastly more powerful. And he did it on 4 weeks preparation.
What would you like to see next for Jake?
I'd like him to take a beat, relax, and then think about when he's going to fight next. We talked about June, July timeframe. He loves this sport. He loves MVP. He loves the athletes. He loves giving them platform and push. This young lady right here, the whole time when I was talking to her, I said, "What do you think?" She goes, "Jake's going to win. I believe in him. He can do whatever he wants to do." That's the kind of family that we're building at MVP. It's a fighter-first organization. You guys saw our weigh-in yesterday. That stuff costs a lot of money, but we want to put on the best brand for these fighters to show them.
Several fighters publicly acknowledged Jake Paul's resilience for stepping into the ring with a former heavyweight champion and managing to last into the 6th round, especially considering the clear gaps in size, power, and experience. Many noted that Paul showed genuine heart and determination, continuing to compete despite the mounting pressure before eventually being stopped by knockout. Promoter Eddie Hearn also recognized Paul's effort, though his assessment was more measured and realistic. Hearn stated that while Paul demonstrated a degree of toughness, the outcome was never truly in question. He emphasized that few, if any, realistically expected Paul to last long against a fighter of Anthony Joshua's elite caliber. According to Hearn, surviving until the 6th round was more a testament to Paul's durability than his technical boxing ability. He added that the bout ultimately underscored the wide gap between social media crossover fighters and elite professional boxers, as Joshua's experience, size, and power decisively controlled the fight from start to finish.
First 2 or 3 rounds, a little bit frustrating because you've been out of the ring for a year and a half and you've got a guy that's just running around the ring and you can say you've got to cut him off, but when they're moving at that kind of speed and they're holding up close, his clinching was quite good, Jake. Like you said, I'm not saying he's going to go and win a world title, but he just fought Anthony Joshua and went 5 and a bit rounds. So, respect to him, and it was good to get some rounds in, to be honest with you. He's got a new team. If it would have gone 45 seconds, maybe people would have been more impressed, but we wouldn't really have got any ring time. So we've got that, and now it's a case of when we're at next.
You described Jake as average a few years ago. What's your assessment of him now?
Decent. If you listen to what I said in the build-up, I said he used to be average, now I think he's decent. And the same. I think he's like a top 50 cruiserweight in the world. Top 50, top 60 cruiserweight in the world. So, yeah, and look, like I said, I hope he's okay. 4-0 to Matchroom over MVP. We're friends now, so respect to him.
Any message from you?
Fury, listen.
After the fight, Ryan Garcia weighed in on social media with a blunt and provocative reaction that quickly drew attention across the boxing community. While he acknowledged and respected Jake Paul's effort, Garcia also made a pointed comparison to another high-profile boxer, Gervonta Davis. In his tweet, he wrote, "I think Gervonta would have done him worse," implying that Davis would have hit Paul harder or ended the fight even more decisively than Joshua. Many boxing analysts echoed Garcia's sentiment, questioning the level of competition and suggesting that the matchup was far from elite boxing. Even after the bout concluded, debate continued, with critics arguing that the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fight was ill-advised and should not have taken place.
Fair play to Jake Paul. He has a lot of guts, and the fact that he wasn't carried out of this fight on a stretcher, you know, certainly I guess you could say is a positive. But what did I think about this? What did I think about Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul? Look, it felt like Anthony Joshua carried him. It felt like Jake Paul brought in as much of a negative anti-style as possible, circling away, constantly holding Joshua, constantly falling to the ground. Again, while you're certainly going to give respect for the YouTube star turned fighter for having the guts to put on this type of show and to stand in there for as long as he did until a clean right hand in the corner when Paul was absolutely exhausted, dropped him and ended the fight. This is not elite boxing, and we knew that coming in, but if these fights are going to be sanctioned as official fights, like the Mike Tyson fight from last year, like this one, how much longer is the appetite for the fan going to be there when this is such a bad look overall for the sweet science, the sport of boxing, which, you know, cannot get out of its way any...
Critics highlighted that the vast differences in size, experience, and skill between a former heavyweight world champion and a social media influencer turned boxer made the fight feel more like a spectacle than a true sporting contest. Many emphasize that matching Jake Paul against an Olympic-level fighter with genuine heavyweight power carried serious safety risks, as shown by his multiple knockdowns and the broken jaw he suffered during...
Joshua being taken 6 rounds by Jake Paul. We're in the aftermath here. The press conference is going on behind us. We're yet to see Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua out here. Ak, you were ringside, you were around the whole fight. People are complaining that Anthony Joshua may have embarrassed himself in there tonight, letting Jake take him 6 rounds.
It's ridiculous. Anybody that saying that doesn't know anything about boxing. First off, if you see how Jake was moving and clinching the first 3-4 rounds of that fight, you would understand. It doesn't matter how bad you are. If a fighter in front of you is destined to not get hit and not get knocked out, it's almost impossible to knock that guy out. When Jake was okay with exchanging and trying, even he was exhausted, he said, I'm going to try. That's when AJ was there to land the shots. AJ did what he's supposed to do. Not easy to knock a guy out that's surviving. You know that.
Yeah, I do. I wondered early on whether he didn't have a lot of adrenaline and he was walking Jake down. Jake was making himself small and moving away. And AJ said, you know what, I'm going to take my time here and marinate you.
Exactly. Listen, when a guy that's moving like Jake, that's inexperienced, you're going to gas out. I knew it after half the first round. If Jake keeps moving like that, he's going to gas out in 2-3 rounds. And I noticed that AJ said, okay, I'm going to let him run around. Right? People are screaming, cut the ring off. Let me let him run around and gas out. Once he gassed out, what happened?
Experts argue that crossover events like this threaten the integrity of professional boxing, prioritizing entertainment and pay-per-view profits over genuine competition. They contend that bouts such as Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul are driven more by hype and spectacle than by athletic merit, rewarding showmanship instead of skill, and potentially setting a concerning precedent for the sport's future.
The bigger picture, you and I are boxing guys, we go to boxing all the time. The question we perhaps need to ask is, did that entertain the fans tonight? Should we be seeing that again? Is that it now? We've seen that novelty. Should a fight like that between an Olympic champion, a heavyweight world champion, against a relative novice, should that be sanctioned and licensed by a commission? You know, it was a one-off. Jake's a one-off, but we shouldn't be seeing a lot of these events, in my view.
Never again. We should never have that gap of experience.
The mismatch.
Skill set should never happen again. I mean, to your point, Jake is an anomaly, right? Like, we can let him get that off. He tried it, and he even landed a couple of shots, but you saw at first, I mean, as soon as he landed the first right hand, even he saw, I can't hurt this guy. I'm not going to.
It was a pebble hitting a tank, is how I've described it.
Great description. So I think it's in some sense, we needed to have this in order for it
not
to
get it out of our
again.
system.
Right.
Yeah,
in order for it not to happen again. And look, let's not ignore that there were other fighters on the card who were watched, who were seen from places all around the world. So it served its purpose, and kudos to Netflix for allowing it to happen.
Yeah, Baumgardner was very good. Alicia Baumgardner defending her belts Caroline Dubois was very good. She signaled herself to the American market, as you mentioned. So at least they benefit from it as well tonight, which will continue to happen with MVP and Netflix.
And that's what Jake and Nikisa, that's their agenda, right? Of course it's Jake, but Jake has all of that in mind. Who can I showcase on this event? He did it for Amanda Serrano. She's made millions. He's starting to look. Dubois, she looked great. I want to see her again. Me personally, I became a fan of her.
What do you think? Was this fight a true test of boxing skill, or just a spectacle that shouldn't have happened? Share your thoughts in the comments below.